Hello, do you know how to perform an autopsy on your system? Well, next, we'll show you how to properly disassemble an Alienware X51 R1 or R2 and see what's inside the alien beasts. Before starting, remember to check out the safety precautions and ESD protection video listed below, or simply click on the video now. Basic disassembly. First, unplug all peripherals attached to the computer, such as keyboard, mouse, display, etc. Once everything is unplugged, unplug the AC adapter. To open the side panel, lay the system down on its right side. There is a screw on the back of the system securing the left side panel. Remove this screw. Carefully and gently push the left side cover towards the front of the system. Apply enough force just to release the left side cover. Carefully flip the left side cover towards the top of the chassis. Do not pull the side cover right away from the system chassis, since the lighting board cable needs to be removed. Disconnect the lighting board cable and completely remove the side cover. To remove the optical drive, disconnect the cable from the optical drive. Then remove the screw securing the optical drive and cage to the system chassis. Slide the optical drive and cage away from the front of the system and remove. The optical drive is enclosed in a cage. To remove it, remove the two screws on the left securing the optical drive to the cage. Then just slide the optical drive out through the rear of the optical drive cage. To remove the video card, remove the two screws securing the video card cage to the system chassis. Pull up the video card cage. Carefully flip the video card cage to reveal the video card underneath it. Unlatch the retention piece on the cage. Disconnect the video card power cables from the video card and then remove it. There will be one or two cables depending on your video card model. The video card is enclosed in a cage. To take it out, unlatch the retention piece on the cage. Now turn around the card and locate the PCI Express slot latch. While pressing down this latch, pull up the video card carefully. To remove the CPU fan duct, remove the two screws securing it to the system, then just pull it up. To remove the wireless card, unplug the wireless card antennas. Then remove the screw that secures the wireless card. Finally, remove the wireless card. If you have an X51 R2 configured with an m-sata drive, then it will be located in the same slot instead of the wireless card. To remove it, simply remove the screw securing it to the motherboard and remove the m-sata card. To remove the CMOS battery, unplug the cable that connects it to the motherboard and then detach the battery from the audio port backplate. The X51 R2 has an optional dual hard drive cage. To remove it, first unplug the hard drive connector from the top hard drive. If you have a single drive, there is no need to do this. Now remove the screw that secures the cage to the chassis. Finally, slide the cage towards the front of the system. To remove the drives from the cage, remove the four screws securing the top drive and then take it out from the cage. For the bottom drive, remove the 4 screws. Now slide the drive to disconnect it. To remove the memory, gently push the memory latches located on one side of the modules. Now pull out the memory modules one at a time. Advanced Disassembly. To remove the CPU heatsink, disconnect the CPU fan from the motherboard. Then unscrew the 4 screws that are securing the CPU heatsink. This will not come out completely as they are spring-loaded. Pull up the heatsink carefully and remove it. To remove the processor, press and push the release lever down and out to release it from the tab that secures it. Now open the processor cover. Finally, remove the processor from the system board. Be careful not to touch the bottom of the CPU or the CPU socket at any time. To remove the motherboard, unplug the CPU power cable and the front I/O board USB cable from the system board. Also disconnect the power SATA power board, front I/O, and PCI fan cables from the system board. Take note of the routing so you can replace the cables. Now remove the 4 screws securing the system board to the system chassis. Lift up the motherboard at a 30-degree angle, then slide it about ½ an inch towards the front of the system, then remove it completely. To remove the power board fan, remove the screws that secure the fan and pull it out. To remove the DC jack, unplug the connector from the power board. Then remove the 2 screws securing the DC jack cable assembly to the system chassis. Finally, remove the cable from the chassis. To remove the power board, unplug all the cables from the power board. Remember to pull from the connector itself, not from the cables. Now remove the 4 screws that secure the power board to the chassis. Finally, pull out the power board. To remove the front I/O board, disconnect all the remaining cables first. Then remove the 2 screws securing the board to the chassis. To remove it, pull it away from the chassis. To remove the right side panel, you might need to move aside the cables to see the screw securing the panel to the chassis. Once you've located it, remove it. Now put the system in an upright position and slide the panel towards the front. Open the panel just enough to see the lighting board cable. Once you unplug it, pull the cable carefully through the routing hole and remove the panel. To remove the front bezel, release the front bezel tabs on the left side. First release the lower tab, followed by the 2 top ones. Then release the front bezel tabs on the right side. Once again, release the lower tab first, followed by the 2 top ones. Pull the power button cable and alien head cables through the routing holes. To remove the PCI back cover, simply release the plastic tabs on the left and right side towards the rear of the system chassis, then pull out the cover. To remove the bottom cover, remove the screws securing the bottom cover to the system chassis. Then release the plastic tabs on the left and right towards the front of the system chassis. Finally, slide the bottom cover towards the front of the system chassis and remove it. To remove the top cover, remove the screw securing it to the system chassis. Now simply slide the top cover towards the rear of the system chassis. To remove the PCI fan, remove the 2 screws securing the PCI fan to the system chassis. And finally, remove the PCI fan from the system chassis.